Okay, so this is the third class. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know, is it visible to you? Voice is clear, right? Volume is
Yes.
okay? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have completed these terminology, all the factors which influence education process, then scope of teaching learning, and then we today will discuss about method of teaching. Now, the process of this teaching involves, or it covers several methods. And at the present time, after coming internet in use, there are so many platforms to for this teaching process, or you can say in educational field also there is drastic change. um, at present we are using that one of the change. So there are several methods uh, have been tried over many years, and we find both all the methods fall into two basic categories. The first is instructional method. Instructional methods means once you give instructions in the class, that means a lecture based, or you can say the theory uh, portion, when the teacher teaches the theory portion of the subject. So this is done in a classroom. So instructional methods used in classroom for teaching theoretical portion, theoretical subjects, or uh, any you can say the descriptive form or text based education is given in the class. And there is the second category, which covers the practical aspect or the technical aspect, you can say. So that method used for teaching practical skills on the fields, or it may be in the gymnasium, or it may be in the laboratories. So the classroom methods are variously, you can say, lecture method or recitation method, project method, or the laboratory method, a different one, dramatic method, and group discussion method also. So the methods for teaching skills, or any physical activity, or you can say the practical aspect, as you consider yoga as a subject. So however, have not been properly categorized, but each method used in the classroom situation has many implications for teaching physical activities and skills. But these methods cannot be directly applied to teaching physical activities and skills. So even if you say a classroom teaching, so there is no single method or pattern, you can say, which serve the best method for all teaching situations, because teaching, as we have seen earlier also, depends on a particular situation or environment, or you can say the type of students. It covers many things. Not so that's why it is said that not a single method is applicable in all the situations. So the method of teaching yogic practices comes closer to that of physical activities, because theory very well, each and every aspect, the benefits, the contradictions, and the way how the particular practice should be done. But if there is only theory part, no practical activity involved, then the knowledge is very, very you can say, incomplete. So, the method of teaching yogic practices come closer to that of physical activities rather than, you can say, theoretical subjects. So traditionally, again, there have been two approaches towards, you can say, successful teaching. The first one is teacher-centered approach, and the second is student-centered approach. This is important. The two approach for successful teaching, one is teacher-centered, and second is student-centered. Now, in ancient time or in earlier days, the teacher-centered approach was the main method, all right, used for delivering the knowledge of the teacher to the students, even in yoga. But today, the scientific thought focuses its attention on and emphasizes the student-centered approach. Student-centered approach means there are, some principles or concepts which underlie the method are expected to involve the need of the student. So the main emphasis of which is, taken into consideration is the need or what the student want. How the teacher should, imply various methods or skills to motivate the student, or whatever qualities a student has, it has to be bring out. And even sometimes the student even doesn't know what capability he or she has. So that is the role of teacher, to bring it in front of the student, so that he can or she can know, yes. And motivation also it is required, and method which is used for that particular type of students or a class, it also affects the way of delivering the knowledge to the students. So method of teaching, the main purpose is to create learning in the student. So the teacher should know how a particular method he uses, which affects the student's learning capability. The main aim is student must learn whatever is delivered by the teacher in the class. So there are some basic methods of teaching. The first one is lecture method. Lecture method, this is the oldest, you can say, method used for the formal teaching. So it is valuable in organizing large fields on, material, separating a particular type of information, and presenting the new information. And before presenting to the students, the teacher must, synthesize this information from the wide variety of sources, like practically he or the teacher should concern with various texts a particular topic. Then if he or she is attending the seminar on a particular topic or a particular subject, so they may get the information from those sources also. So they have to, a teacher should compile the knowledge they are receiving from all the sources, and then present in front of the students. So it is more useful with mature students, because teacher has to speak and speak, yeah, and delivering lecture maybe like last for hours. So it is not advisable, this method, for the smaller age groups, because they don't have that much patience, and not much interest they may not have in a particular subject. So it is useful with mature students having a high degree of auditory perception, since it involves problems of attention, like a teacher is saying something, so student must be attentive, then only he can get what a teacher is saying. So voice level clarity, and the vocabulary level of a teacher, that makes a difference. So the lecture has, considerable use in teaching yogic practices and presenting any type of information which is related to that particular activity in the perspective of, you can say, yoga in general, because we are studying teaching methodology in yoga. So when this lecture is, necessary for achievement of specific goal, because before starting any lecture, or you can say, um, maybe it's a practical thing, or project based, or anything related to any topic of a subject, the the knowledge should be presented, or you can say the information should be presented in such a way that the specific goal of teaching should, you know met. So the student should be able to hear that lecture or whatever is delivered by the teacher in the class. So the lecture can be, it should be stimulating, interesting, and motivating to the students if the teacher prepares it properly, and if a teacher know what kind of students are there in the class. So that observation makes a difference. How this topic should be, delivered, so that the student can get the complete knowledge or information. So the lecture method proves of a greater advantage when combined with other methods. So other methods means you can do, some charts, or you can say some practical aspect of some model, or the use of visual material. Nowadays you can use projector, you can make use of various examples. So that should be considered, which helps in aiding student to retain that content of the lecture. So when using the lecture method, the teacher should also be aware of limitations of this method. Now, what are the limitations? It is the oldest method, okay, the lecture based method. So this is in olden days, or in ancient times, it is teacher centric activity. So it is a teacher centered approach of teaching. So it may encourage lack of participation on the part of student, because you are giving lecture and students are listening to you. They may listen, they may distract, because it is difficult to focus the mind at one single person, or one single thing for a long, because our mind is very fluctuating. That's why we use all the yogic practices, especially the pranayama. So many students lack ability to learn, by this method, and it may lead teachers to, they ignore the more effective methods. It may, because giving lecture is somewhat easier thing than preparing a teacher for using other effective methods. So the attention span of more immature student is too short, because all the students are fully interested or fully concentrated for an hour or more. So it is sometimes not practical. So very small, you can say, amount of students can get benefited by this long lecture method. The second one is response to instruction method. Now, in this method, the teacher gives the precise instructions, or for a particular kriya or a particular practice, which precede or follow, or you can say concurrent with the demonstration. Means first the teacher gives just instructions, and then with demonstration, means he does the practice as per the instruction given by him or her, and then all students respond to those instructions of the teacher in the same way. So that is a more easier way of learning yogic practices. So there is very little attention paid, to the individual, because if teacher is demonstrating, and teacher is, showing you, and you are following his or her instructions, so there may be a time when a teacher, for teacher to be attentive to all the students equally, because if all the students are sitting in one place and teacher is standing on stage, so he can see all the students equally. But if you are doing a posture and the teacher is standing at one place, it is difficult to watch each and every student. So the emphasis is on the subject matter of activities that is introduced. Now this is again a formal approach. So the information approach with this method is more favorable in teaching such activities where there is some variation in the performance of individual. Now, if a teacher is performing one particular asana, there are so many instructions for performing even a single posture or single asana. So if you can see, even in your class also, you maybe observe that not all the students perform the simple asana in the same way as teacher does. There are some variation depending upon their knowledge and how much they hear the instructions, and also their body capability and flexibility. So, there is a variation. So, this method can be, profitably used, after due attention to the problems of the individual. So, you have to watch each and every student, and then because the difficulty, or you can say the problem of each student is different. All right. Like if it is a forward bending, some students are very good in forward bending, but others not. And if there is some asana of backward bending or side bending, so depending upon the individual's body type or flexibility, or the way they hear the instructions, uh, their performance will be varied. Now, the third one is individualized instructional method. So then it comes individualized instruction. So teacher, it's a duty of a teacher to watch each and every student, and then make out what type of problem student is facing, and then you have to resolve that problem. So it is based on the principle that learning is highly individualized, because each individual has his own mind and capability, like mental ability, physical ability. It's different. And also the focusing or the concentration power, you can make out it in a class. Some students catch even a complicated thing very easily. They can get, and they may ask how and when. And some students, they need some time, some repetition, uh, again and again you have to say, then they get what uh, the information that lecture has. So in this method, attempts are made to to provide by different means for individual differences within the pattern of group structure. Then there is a fourth method, which is a group discussion method. Now, in group discussion method, it enhances, or different capability of a student, and this is a very good education tool, you can say, an educational technique primarily designed for the use in a situation where the problem needs a solution. Now, if some problem, or you can say, some thing you have to come out, or a decision you have to take, then, and there are so many choices. So if you put that problem or that situation and give it to some group of students, and you can lead that discussion, and just say share your thoughts about this topic. So they have their own perception, own criteria. So they, share some information with you or with the group. So it has both individual and group value, and it helps the individual to learn to express himself in front of the others. So yeah, you can say it develops a leader, a quality of a leader, because each individual has, they may have different views or different thoughts of a particular topic. So they have that courage to share with others, and so it helps, the individual to learn. At the same time, they must have the listening capability also. If some other person is speaking, so you have to listen. Maybe you will get a different angle of thinking to that particular topic or particular subject. So it enhances, this quality, and also you can learn to be tolerant to the opinions of the others. All right, you can't say ki, I am the best or I know all uh, the thing. You never say that. You have to listen to others. So that improves the ability, to think critically on issues of a problem. So the effectiveness of the group discussion method depends upon the teacher's capability to lead the discussion. If there is some anger or some argument, so you have to resolve that, and the student should develop the leadership quality in the participation. The teacher should serve as a leader. Then the next one, the fifth one, is directed practice method. Directed practice methods means assignments. If you are given, uh, you first, give the instructions of a particular topic or a subject, and then give assignments based on that topic or a subject. This is give some extra practice for that selected. In case of yoga, it is yoga practices, and you have to engage the students out of the class if they have the time. So out of the class hours also, they may engage and enhance that skill and performance levels of the student. So this is for the practical based also, or the theoretical portion also. So first, the necessary introduction along with the preliminary practices, practice of selected yogic exercise, like it may be Srishasan, or it may be any bandha, or it may be any kriya or shatkarma, that is the purification process. So they may be done in the class first. You have to like give instructions, then demonstration, and then make them to practice in front of you. But everything cannot be, they cannot be perfect in one or two practices. So you have to encourage them to so that they practice after the class also, so that increases their efficiency. It could be developed through out of the class practice. So the student should be encouraged to do these type of practices, not in front of the teacher, but the knowledge or the information they took in the class from the teacher or other classmates, so they can apply and then make themselves perfect. So they may check the result during the subsequent classes. The teacher check the results, see how progress they are making, and give additional suggestions if required for further practice. So this method is the success of this method depends upon how the teacher motivates the students, and how the coordination between a student and a teacher is. Now, the next is the sixth one is project method. Now, the aim of this method is to enable the student to put into practice what they have learned in the class. They have learned in the class a particular practice or a particular topic. Then some project work is given by the teacher to the students, uh, which they have that related information. So when the time is short, so the regular schedule, the project, such as you can give theoretical project also. You just make the chart of this particular practice, or make survey of that particular practice. What are the benefits? What are the contradictions? What happens if this will be done? What something wrong, if wrong alignment was there in a particular asana or a kriya, what contradiction will a practitioner face? So that type of project, if it is given, so this on yogic practices. So the collection of related material from various sources, or they may prepare models, or and then models will be exhibited of those yogic practices can be exhibited in an exhibition, a classroom exhibition, or in a college or in an institution, and then planned observations of, the seminars which are going on in the institution, some conferences or some competitions related to this activity. So, as well as, visit to some different well-known yoga centers to represent uh, this valuable help. So, the teacher will help the students to gain more and more knowledge, more and more clarity of that particular topic by using this project method. Then demonstration method. Demonstration method again refers to, non-competitive type performances. Uh, it is very much, give emphasis on the skill of a student, or you can say, to make them more skillful, more perfect in that practice. So this is again of a greater value, and it properly directed to both performer or demonstrator or a teacher and a viewer and a practitioner. So the demonstration method describes the organization of teaching of the class with the sole purpose of public demonstration when concluded. Because after becoming a teacher, you have to, lead a class. So before a teacher, you are a student. So if you learn properly that skill from the teacher, then only you are able to deliver the same to your teacher, your students. So this demonstration method as a technique for the use of the class has some disadvantages, because the scope of learning is restricted. Here it is, because it is a skill based. So it utilizes the existing talent rather than developing new skills. You have to do that particular thing like that only. है ना? You cannot introduce your way of doing that thing. So the demonstration method, but still it serves as an excellent group method. You can practice in the group or individual also. So there appears to be, no simple formula for selecting the best method. It depends on the condition available, and the time, the space, and whatever resources or equipments you are having at that particular institution, or wherever you are delivering your lecture. So the teacher should have the skill to use a particular method and adapt it, to prevailing conditions, so that the student receives proper orientation and understanding of the technique, So this is the skill of a teacher to utilize whatever it is available to deliver the best to the student so that they can get that knowledge. Or in other words, you can say the method should always be considered as a means to an end, not the end in itself. All right. So the method should allow for individual differences and stimulate both creativity and independent thinking. So in yoga, the teaching method has to be eclectic, drawing upon useful, vital contributions from several existing methods. So you have to, select as per the resources available in that particular place. Now, the next topic is factors which influencing the method. What are the factors which influence the method which you are adopting for teaching process? So there are following the some factors are given which govern the selection of a particular method, or you can say combination of methods. So the first one is content. So we have already seen that the method of teaching depends upon the nature of the subject. What is the subject, whether it is a theoretical part or a practical part. So it requires different methods from the theoretical subject, the practical part, the practical, you can say, aspect of educating a particular topic or a subject. So even different practical skills require different methods. We know also that method of teaching skills in physical education come closer to that of uh, our yogic practices, because physical education is it also involves your body, but yogic practices, they involve your body, they involve your mental body also. So means your body is involved. That's why it is said that it is considered to be near to physical education. Now the second is the previous background and experience of the student. Now, because you have to teach a group of students, so the method of teaching differs according to the previous experience of the students. If they know some practices already, so you have to, enhance their information or their knowledge. You cannot start, or and if somebody is a fresher or a beginner, then you have to teach accordingly. Okay, you cannot go to the advanced practices. So the progressive skills cannot be taught to those who have not already mastered basic skills. So you have to, observe, you have to see what type of students you are teaching. So the teacher can save time and energy by inquiring about, their previous experience, their previous skills, and what they know and what they want to know and how much they are capable of. And third is teacher. Teacher means the leader of the class. So efficiency of the method depends on the teacher who uses it, obviously. So the method itself is not a good or bad. It turns out to be good if it is in the hands of an able teacher. And if a able teacher can adopt, or you can say take advantage whatever resources available. And if a bad teacher, they cannot use the all the resources available, good resources, or you can say good facilities in a better way. So it depends on the capability of a teacher. So the teacher does influence the method selection, whatever method he or she selected. So the teachers have, following, should have the following qualities which reflected through the chosen method. The first is a genuine interest in communication, how he or she communicates with the student, what tone, what vocabulary, and what content he or she is delivering with the students. love of work of teaching. If you have interest in any particular thing, then you deliver your best, you do your best. So the love for that, the passion for that work is very, very uh, required and needed also. And a willingness to share interest and experience with the others. You must have that willingness, or you can say the interest, to share your experience with your students, and also listen to the students as well. So an ability to put him or herself in a position of the student. So you sometimes you can put yourself, in the position of student and think accordingly, and then you will get the solution. Okay, what a student wants. So the capacity of understanding, expressed in an open, authentic way without blaming or condemning the students. Some teachers blame, or say some words or some sentences which are not welcoming to the students. So they may such things may distract students from the basic the aim of education. So, and one of the important is an attractive personality. When you enter the class, you must be in a such a uh, you must have that persona that other student will be affected by your presence. The ability to set a good example through lifestyle and behavior. Okay, there are so many things we say in front of students. We should be like that, this, and that. But what about you? Are you following like a discipline, or you can say uh, the respect the time, respect the place, you know? So and if you are coming late daily and expecting students to come on time, and in a proper way, so you have to follow first, and then the students will follow you. So you have to set a good example through your lifestyle and behavior. Then a sense of professional responsibility towards the student, because students are there in the class because of some reason. They want some knowledge or some degree, or some certificate. So you have that professional responsibility to fulfill those uh, need of a student. Then a pleasant and yet commanding voice. Your voice should be pleasant, but it should have that command. Then the awareness that the person in the teacher is more important than the method. Okay, whatever method of teaching you are using, it is useless if teacher is not able to deliver or use those method properly. So a teacher is important, not the method. So there may be suitable modifications in the method depending upon the need, as we have discussed, need of the student, or what time restraints, or the place, or the environment. So they are possible only when the teacher is conscious of that situation which he is or she is handling. So the art of teaching on the part of the teacher depends on the suitable modifications in the teaching method which routinely used. Okay, only two points remaining. We'll complete this. Then the facilities. Now the availability of facilities greatly influences the teaching method. Okay, whatever facility is available, if it is in today's scenario, if it is a smart classroom, or you can say a very pleasant environment, a blackboard or a projector or a chart, and then properly, if it is a practical class, then all the mats are properly arranged, the environmental is so soothing, and the flow of air, or you can say the ventilation is proper, neatness, cleanliness. And if you are doing particularly you can say shat kriya, the things are available. So the available of facilities greatly influence the teaching method. It becomes more efficient with the facilities. In absence of the required facilities, sometimes it will be difficult for the teacher, to deliver his talent completely. It may cause him or her tense and unable to give his best, right, to the students. So these facilities could be in the form of space or equipments or atmosphere. Suppose there are many like 50 students in a class, but the sitting area is very small, so it will be difficult to accommodate all the students, especially in case of practical class, because you may need a space to perform all the practices properly, and pranayam especially, because where the inhalation, exhalation you do. So it should be properly ventilated. So the class is required to be, conducted on a open ground, and teacher will face, the problems of introducing asanas, and because asanas are standing, they may be sitting, they may be lying. So the proper place and proper ventilation, neatness, cleanliness, all are required. Okay. So if there are no, suppose no water facility, or a for the purification process, or for the kriya, and no, like you have to sit at one place, and then you do some, just say you want to do kunja. So for kunja there may be, proper space, and depending upon the number of students, so they will, have the limitations for the teaching. So if the atmosphere is noisy, okay, then the how can you do the meditation practices? So that also taken into account. Sometimes it would be difficult to give the best, for the teacher to give his or her best. And then the last one is scientific principles. Now, an effective teaching method depends on knowledge of important principles of anatomy, physiology, psychology, pedagogy, and yoga, so that the teacher may be flexible in modifying the method. If the teacher knows about the body, the functioning of the body, and then physiology, what a particular what organ or a particular system performs, what are its functions, how it does, and what practices makes a difference in their increasing their activity. And psychology also, what mental condition student has, and how to resolve that, what type of psychology of a student plays a role during the teaching learning process. And pedagogy means that means, what method, what instructions you are using to deliver that knowledge. So all those things, they are very very important, and they are scientific thing, because they have their important role, or you can say a logical role in this educational process. So because all those things play an important role while you select a method of a teaching, so these principles provide, a base for the selection and formulation of a method for teaching. So I think we'll end today's lecture here itself. We'll start the next topic tomorrow. So do you have anything to ask? You can ask.
No, ma'am, all good to go.
Okay.